Thanks for joining us on the program here today. And let's just start off by having you give a brief introduction about yourself and some of the work that you're doing, and then we'll dive into the questions.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Riley. Hello, everyone. My name is Angie Kalousek Ebrahimi, and I'm the Senior Director of Lifestyle Medicine at Blue Shield of California. What that means is that I oversee all of the lifestyle medicine-based programs, but the role has really evolved into how we roll out digital care that is lifestyle-based to our membership. We have a platform called Wellvolution that has a whole suite of digital care programs, mostly in the cardiometabolic space, hypertension, diabetes prevention, obesity management, but also we've added mental health, musculoskeletal, digital physical therapy, tobacco cessation. So we're really growing the program and seeing kind of a huge uptick in the use of digital care.
Excellent. And you're here to tell us a little bit about some of the barriers that you're facing. So let's talk about that. What are those primary barriers that are kind of preventing men, stubborn men such as myself, from engaging in regular health screenings and utilizing digital care programs?
Yeah, and I hate to sort of go back to this answer, but I think there is still something in societal expectations, gender norms. Men sort of have this notion that they need to be strong, self-reliant, which is great. It's a great quality to have. And that sort of goes, though, outside of the notion of asking for help. And so I think that the other thing that can get in the way is time schedules. They're uncomfortable with potentially learning a diagnosis because then they won't know what to do about it. And it's not entirely isolated to men, but we definitely see more of a resistance to engage in healthcare in men versus women.
And what are you seeing in some of these initiatives to try to target those who are maybe reluctant to go in for screenings? Obviously, we've all seen the Cologuard commercial. That's a kind of a catchy one for trying to promote earlier colorectal health screenings. But what are you seeing in other initiatives, or what are you doing for promoting cardiovascular screenings, mental health screenings, or things of that nature?
Well, I think digital care has actually opened up a really interesting avenue for men and for women too. But it's a sort of a way that there is putting the efficacy in the hands of the individual using the program. And I think that specifically appeals to men. So sort of taking care of it on their own, which means that they are the ones going to sort of seek out the digital care. It's a tool in their toolbox. It's not sort of a call for help. It's more of a play on self-efficacy. And a good example of this is, we have one of the programs that we offer is a diabetes treatment reversal program. So in that treatment and reversal program, individuals have an app that they interact with on a daily basis. It gives them recipes and tools and connection to a community, but it also gives them daily interaction with a health coach. And that health coach can kind of stay on top of their biometric readings. They're asked to do blood sugar readings in the morning and throughout the day. And what's great about what happens there is those coaches share the information through the technology with the physician community that leads this intervention. So the physician community can then work through the coaches to schedule screenings, blood tests, follow-ups, and it really kind of works through this very user-friendly app where it doesn't feel like going to a doctor's office, kind of that, white coat syndrome where you're afraid of the diagnosis, but you really have someone that you trust on the other end that's working with you. And the system promotes you going into getting those screenings.
I love that. Trick us into thinking we're just talking to a coach, but we're really interacting with the healthcare system. That's really a good idea. And then looking at Wellvolution itself, some of the statistics I think we have are around utilization. I think it's 78% women and 22% men for digital care programs. What do you think are some strategies other than the ones you mentioned that healthcare providers can implement to increase engagement?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really tricky one to overcome. I think this is something that is really industry wide, where we actually are seeing that women are sort of the like the CEO of their household when it comes to healthcare, right? They're the ones who are
Oh yeah.
driving health decisions. They're you know, typically the ones putting food on the table, doing the grocery shopping, not always, but this is sort of a usual case, right? They're the ones who are scheduling visits for their children, interested in the health of their spouses. So it is tricky to get men to engage. So I think that the best way to do it is through doing outreach that is specifically targeted to men. I think that it's a lot easier to sort of catch the attention of a woman who's like, oh, you know, yes, I need to get this done. I need to put this on my list, versus a man who sort of sees this and says, that's great. You know, my wife will take care of this, or my partner will take care of this. And I think that if we can, again, kind of going back to that sort of call upon self-efficacy, like, you know, hey, gentlemen, that this is a tool that you can use in your toolbox to support your health efforts. I think another interesting thing, and that's kind of coming up in the industry, is wearables. So men are engaging in wearables. You know, you see a lot of men and women wearing Apple Watches, Fitbits, Aura rings, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So if there's a way to integrate that, you know, Apple Health or any kind of wearable device into the solution, I think that's a very appealing way to get men engaged into the kind of the process.
Yeah, certainly. And if you can gamify the healthcare system in some way, you know, you're going to draw into a certain section of the population. I know that health isn't necessarily a game, but sometimes you know, that's some of the ways that men might think about their health is, you know, how can I get a lower score, or, you know, what can I
Yeah.
do to, you know, make sure that I'm kind of having fun while participating in something that, you know, might be reluctant to engage with in the first place. I'm going to ask you a tough
Right.
question here. And you touched on it a little bit earlier about the stigmatization of men seeking help for their health needs and being seen as weakness. What are some of the things that you're seeing that healthcare industry can kind of engage or adopt in, or how can we help to dissolve that stigma?
Yeah, and we're seeing that stigma on the physical health side, but I think one of the other places we're seeing it very, very strongly is on the mental health side. I would say there's probably an even greater disparity in the kind of women-men engagement on the mental health side. And I think that, you know, one of the things that I think appeals to men, and again, like these are generalizations, and it's
Sure.
really hard to say like this person will engage, this person will not. But I think one of the things that appeals to men is that they do feel a responsibility to take care of their family, almost more so than taking care of themselves. So kind of appealing to this sense that if you are taking care of yourself, you are better equipped to be there for your family. And that could go for mental health, or it could, you know, apply to physical health. So I think kind of like always circling around that notion that, you know, put on your own oxygen mask first before assisting others. If you don't do that, you are not equipped to help those who are around you. And I think that's an important message.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great way to put it. And certainly we see, you know, like you mentioned on the airplane, but you know, if you want to be, you know, seen as a true pillar for your family, you know, if that pillar has got cracks in it, you know, it's not gonna do as good of a job holding up the building as if that's a strong, sturdy pillar. So that's a good way of reframing it. Well, thank you so much for coming in and unpacking certainly many of the issues that we are seeing from the healthcare perspective, and getting again stubborn men like me to engage in the system. if anybody wants to
We believe in
connect,
you, Riley. We believe in
yes,
you.
I'll get there. I'll get there for sure. If anyone else wants to connect with you, please do so on LinkedIn. And thank you again. And we look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you so much.